Hi guys, welcome back. In today's video, we're going to be continuing with the jewelry space, right? Already we have covered three companies over here, RBC, Sky Gold and TP Abushan. Today we're going to be talking in the B2C space, in the jewelry space. We're going to be talking about the new entrant to the market, which is P and Gadgil Jewellers, okay? So all in all, when you compare the jewelry space, we've had three big players over here, Titan, Kalyan and Senco, right? And Kalyan used to be the leader in this space. They've had the highest growth rate, more number of store expansions, right? We have seen, right? And for the first time, we are seeing somebody as equal to Kalyan or better than Kalyan has come up and is giving a good competition to Kalyan. Okay, so over here, when you see for Kalyan, sorry, not for Kalyan, for P and Gadgil Jewellers is that player, that is giving very tough neck to neck competition. And in fact, it has, this quarter we are seeing Kalyan has been dethroned from the number one boy in the jewelry space. We see P and Gadgil Jewellers coming here and taking the place. Okay, so first let us understand the business model over here. What does P and Gadgil Jewellers exactly do? P and Gadgil Jewellers, similar to the likes of your Titan, Kalyan and Senco, these people sell gold jewelries, different types of studded jewelries, marriage or a special occasion ka jewelry, okay? Primarily gold jewelry, okay? Now, one thing that differs from them, let's say, especially to the likes of Titan and Kalyan, is Titan has a pan-India presence. Kalyan also went from, being in the south of India to the north of India. And similarly, you see P and Gadgil Jewellers also over here. The main difference over here is even Senco actually, right? Senco went from Calcutta to, to not Calcutta, West Bengal to different places also. Over here, P and Gadgil Jewellers is concentrated in Maharashtra. If you see 95% of the revenue comes from Maharashtra and the rest 5 to 6% comes from Goa. But again, still a majority of the sale comes from Maharashtra. And even in Maharashtra, when you compare the chunk of revenue that comes, out of that 60%, majority of the sale is coming from Pune. So these people, you can tell they have a geographical concentration from the state of Maharashtra over here. So this is the business model, okay? Now let's talk about the numbers. Before the numbers, let's talk about the guidance that was given. Like when they came during IPO time, they had told, when you look at their IPO interviews and everything, they had told, see, FY24 ka revenue was 6,032 crores, okay? And they were targeting in FY27, that is in the next 2 years, by FY27, in the next 2 years, they are targeting a revenue of around 10,000 crore, okay? So that is like, around 30 to 32% ka CAGR, okay? That is one thing. The second thing is in terms of store expansion, okay? If you look at Gadgil has had only around 39 stores in FY24, and the base of the store is quite low compared to the likes of Senco, Kalyan, and Titan, right? I mean, Senco also, I think you can tell, in the same league. It is also a very small company. So compared to that, also it had a very because I think Senco has right now north of 180 stores. So compared to that, also it's quite low, right? And the store expansion plan was also great. They wanted to go from 39 to around 60 stores in a couple of years. So now let us see how close are they getting to this target. Okay, now in Q2FY25, you see that the sales growth on a year-on-year basis, you see the sales has grown by 42%. Okay, Kalyan grew, I believe, by 36%, Senco around 18 to 20%, 18 to 24%, I think, Senco. So over here, you see P and Gadgil that is there has been higher growth rate compared to the other three players. That is one thing. Not just that, another impressive thing about P and Gadgil Jewellers is you see that the PAT on a year-on-year basis has grown by around 59%. Okay, this operating leverage, especially in this quarter, they've been able to show is quite impressive, because we've seen with all the three companies, the rest three companies that are there, that is also a bit of leaders over here, you can tell, Titan, Kalyan and Senco, a bit of a big players relatively compared to the others in the market. You see them, all of them had an inventory losses, right? And that really impacted their bottom line. Because of this inventory loss, we are seeing due to cutback of import duty from 12 to 6%. And this is the only company that has been able to show operating leverage. So quite impressive, I would say, in both of these fronts. Now coming to the store expansion, right? Because like I told you, they had plans of opening 39 stores, and now they were planning to target 60 stores by FY27. In this Q2, what happened? You remember there is this before, right, in Q3 we are going to have Navratri and Diwali and all of these things. So in Navratri, there are 9 days in Navratri now. So what they have done is they had this theme that they followed, that for every day of Navratri they'll open one store in Maharashtra. So in Q2 they've opened 9 stores, so totally taking their store count from 39 to 48, right? And they're planning to add another 5 to 6 stores by the end of this year, by in Q3 and Q4. So from 48 or in H1 plus let's say another 5 to 6 stores in the coming H2. That is also roughly around how much, 54 stores. So they're going that 60 stores target that they had by FY27, that is going to be more or less reached in this going to be done over here in this year only. And next year they're planning another 10 stores. So if you see that the store count also has increased over here, right? The guidance, because last time they told 60, now we are at 48 stores. 6 stores will be added in H2, another 10 stores in next year. So taking that store count to like 65 instead of 60. So highest pace of growth, highest sales growth among everybody, right? Among the peers. We are seeing an operating leverage also, which we do not see with any other players. And on top of that, यहाँ पे जो guidance था for the stores, right? Earlier guidance was 60, now it has been increased to 65 by FY27, and the store expansion is also on track. So really good. Similarly with studded also, if you look at them, studded ratio becomes very important over here, because the more studded you have, better is your making, you charge more, making charges आपका ज़्यादा होता है. As a result आपका value growth जो है, margin जो है improve होता है. By in FY24, when they came to IPO, उनका standard margin था 10%, and they were targeting this standard margin to take it up to 15% by FY27. And now if you see, as of Q2 of FY25, the standard margin is at 11%, not 12, sorry, 11%. So all in all matters, in all prospects you see, it is really doing well, right? Now one of the reasons that you see that इनका इतना बड़ा sales growth हुआ है, there were two reasons. Of course, the number one is we see the cutback in import duty, which we have seen across the jewelry space now, and we've seen because of this cutback, people have been rushing to buy gold. A lot of pre-buying has happened. The second is इनका यहाँ पे Q2 में क्या हुआ, they run this program called Maha Mangal Sutra Utsav, Maha Mangal Sutra Mahotsav, sorry. Now in this, what they have done, they've launched a lot of SKUs, different kinds of SKUs over here, gold ka, platinum ka, polki jewelries and all of that Mangal Sutra. Even this has been a very positive impact for them. So these two were the reasons. Another thing you'll also see now, that in spite of just having 39 to 48 stores यहाँ पे, in spite of that, you will see that इनका like growth तो बहुत है, like absolutely big amount of growth they're having compared to anybody else now at this store base. Now why is that so? Is because if you look at PN Gadgil Jewellers, now they have a very strong conversion rate. Let's say if there are 100 people coming to the store, you're pretty sure that 93 will convert and be your customer, okay? And this is because they've maintained a very strong loyal base over here with their customers. In fact, not just this, I've also seen this from my own scuttlebutt. Whenever I've spoken to somebody from Maharashtra, they speak of PN Gadgil, with a lot of pride. It's like apna khud ka brand hai. That's how they talk when they talk about PN Gadgil. They have a lot of trust, and I think a reason for this over here, is because probably they've seen their parents, grandparents, and ancestors, like shop from here, and that culture has continued, right? And these people are known for that trust factor in Maharashtra. And in fact, I would say these people have the highest conversion rate compared to anybody else. 93% conversion rate is not a joke, right? So that is another thing. The other update I can tell you is यहाँ पे over here you will see that इनका working capital जो है, it is comparatively better. Inventories that are there are comparatively, उनका stock turnover जो है is comparatively way better. It's, I think that उनका turnover is around 1.5x, is much better compared to the other players in the space. Now why is that so? Is because see, if you take this working capital and everything, you might find like other players are probably not doing that well compared to PN Gadgil Jewellers. Now why is that the case? Is because if you look at PN Gadgil Jewellers, around 50% of the orders come, 50% of उनका orders जो है आते हैं made to orders. Now what is this made to order? Let's say for example you go to a jeweler, right? You go to PN Gadgil, you show them a design के like भाई मुझे ये चाहिए. So Gadgil क्या करते हैं, आपसे advance लेता है कुछ, and then after that they do it and then they give it to you. So because it is a made to order, आपके customized jewelry होता है, the customer comes with a prerequisite. Yeah, आपको you do not have to keep a lot of inventories in your shelf, which is not the case for Titan, Kalyan and Senko, right? Because when you go over there, it is very less people who do this, customized jewelry. वहाँ पे क्या होता है, they'll give you an offering ना, आपको वहाँ पे इतना, like let's say for example आप Titan के showroom में जाते हो, you will tell मुझे studded earring चाहिए, they will take you to that floor और उनका जो भी offering है, they will show it to you, ठीक है? Like and you purchase from that is 90% of the cases that only, right? That is where majority of the sale is coming from. Now because of this, since you do not know what customer is going to come, what is their liking, you will have to keep a plethora of design. Now kitna zyada आप design रखोगे उतना आपके लिए as a company is beneficial, right? Because that is where your majority of sale is coming from. So for Titan, Kalyan and Senko क्या होता है, they have to keep a lot of inventory over here, lot of SKUs, lot of design, which is not the case for PN Gadgil Jewellers, because like I told you, यहाँ पे मेड टू ऑर्डर आता है. इवन इन दैट मेड टू ऑर्डर और एक एडवांटेज क्या है आपको, आपको एडवांस ऑलरेडी पहले ही मिल जाता है कंपेयर टू अदर पीपल वेर यू हैव टू कीप एन इन्वेंटरी फर्स्ट, यू नो, इन ऑर्डर टू गेट अ सेल. So this is one more advantage I can tell of P and Gadgil Jewellers that they have. Okay, now other than this there are some other updates I can tell you कि like I think I'll cover it later, but overall when you see right everything like इनका सब कुछ है, जैसे sales है, operating leverage है, in fact उनका जो you know this impact जो है ना from this cutback of import duty has been around 18.5 crores and FY25 का Q2 का PAT था around 32 crores. So probably if this inventory losses जो if it weren't there, then the PAT growth would have been much higher than 59%. So sales growth है, leading player, operating leverage है when nobody is there, store भी अच्छे तरीके से खोल रहा है, in fact store का भी guidance बढ़ाया है यहाँ पे, right, on track to get that you know 10,000 crore in FY27 and 8,000 to 8,500 crore in this year. Okay, so everything on track, everything in really well. So now let us do a small calculation यहाँ पे in terms of guidance के, like you know what can you expect the same kind of Q3 का growth. In fact उन्होंने बोला कि like in the con call they mentioned कि like Diwali जो है, when you compare this Diwali to last year का Diwali, we've had 35 to 40% का growth in terms of value and 7 to 8% का growth in terms of volume. So 35 plus 7 आप करो around 42 का growth, 42% का growth you can expect in probably in Q3 also. The pace of growth that is there will continue to be there even in Q3, right? And I mean Q3 also, again Q3 is a very strong quarter also, शायद November and December इससे भी ज़्यादा हो सकता है, ठीक है. Now coming back, let us do a small calculation as to like you know what would be the valuation over here and based on the guidance. Like I told you, इन्होंने बोला है कि like 8,000 to 8,500 crore का revenue in this year in FY25, okay, and in FY27 10,000 crore. FY24 का revenue था 6,000 crore, right, and FY25 they're targeting 8,000 to 8,500. That is a good 33% kind of 33% kind of sales growth on a year-on-year basis. Now इन्होंने बोला है कि like इनका PAT जो है you can expect the consolidated PAT margin to be around 3%. Okay, now it is at 2.5, expect it around 3.5%. So 3.5% into 8,000 अगर आप करोगे, that is around you'll get around FY25 का PAT to be 240. If you consider revenue to be around 8,400 crore to which they have guided into 3.3% PAT margin आप करोगे, then it will be around 252 crore. So the PAT growth or the PAT you can expect for FY25 is around between 240 to 250 crore. In fact actually ये PAT margin जो है यहाँ से भी ज़्यादा हो सकता है. One is because like I told you, इनका the reasons for PAT margin to increase are two things. One, as of now the started is at 11 and the target is to be 15 by FY27. So the started portion also should increase by this year and from 11 right to somewhere around 12 or 13%. That is something you can expect. Other than the started portion of the revenue, the other change that is happening over here in terms of you know in terms of why margins will improve. These people you know remember IPO में किया था, of course you have IPO का funds, they're using this IPO का funds to get rid of the debt. Okay, जो भी long term का debt हो, short term का debt हो, everything they want to get rid of it. Now अगर आपका balance sheet में debt नहीं है तो आपका finance को interest आप नहीं pay करोगे, as a result finance cost कम होगा ना. So obviously आपका PAT जो है sales minus expenses is equal to PAT. Expense is one of the expenses, finance cost. So PAT और भी ज़्यादा यहाँ पे there is a reason you know PAT can improve. Not just that, another reason is अगर आप इनका you know the way they hedge the gold, that if you see right now only 20 to 25% of the gold is hedged through GML, which is gold metal loan. Other than that सारा का सारा gold जो है they do it on a day to day basis, they hedge. Okay, now going forward you know by taking you know by having this IPO का funds, making better use, now the debt will also go, they want to take this GML portion from gold metal loan from 20 to 25% that is there to around 50 to 55% in the coming year. Okay, now why is that so? Like you remember Sky Gold ने भी यही किया था, right? Sky Gold earlier क्या कर रहा था, अपना cash जो है Sky Gold what it was doing is the cash, it used to take loan from credit, right, credit cash में. So as a result आप जब cash में loan लेते हो आपका interest जो है is around 10 to 13%, right, 9 to 13% in that range. And जब आप gold metal loan लेते हो आपका जो interest rate है is around 4 to 6%. Okay, so obviously आपका interest rate कम हो रहा है यहाँ पे. Again मानो finance cost will become less, you can see the margins over here will improve much more, right? So this is also one of the reason why you will see PAT का growth could be much higher than this also. So if you take 240 and 252 crore का PAT है around in FY25 you can expect, and आपका market cap is around 9,600 crore, right? Market cap is around 9,605, and if you divide it you will see that the 1 year forward P comes up to 38 to 40 P. which is not, which is, if you compare this 30, so 1 year forward P is 38 to 40, and if you compare it to the peers that are there, whether it is Kalyan, Senco, and Titan, they're all trading at a much higher valuation compared to Gadgil, while Gadgil is having a much higher growth rate. So Gadgil right now is a higher growth rate, and low P compared to the other players, because all the other players are in that stage of high growth and high P where it becomes very imperative for them to continue to perform at the rate at which they are doing, right? Over here, when you see, like I told you, compared to all the players, that they're having a much better growth rate or much higher growth rate. At the same time, unka valuations are much discounted compared to their peers also, right? So that is one thing. So overall, a good set of numbers, nothing to complain. They're on track, right? Everything is great. The only thing I hope is, because abhi 8,400 to 500 crores you can expect in FY25. Hopefully they revise the guidance and store expansion on the upper end for the coming year. That is something I hope they do, so they can keep up with Kalyan, because Kalyan, I think they wouldn't stop from doing 35 to 40% ka growth rate. So from next year onwards, it is again imperative, if they want to continue to beat Kalyan, the growth rate has to be higher, because otherwise, you tell me, right, why would somebody in a Kalyan investor would leave Kalyan and come to Gadgil? The only reason would be, let's say, when Gadgil is growing at a much higher rate than Kalyan, then that shareholders will leave over here and come, right? Because this is more lucrative for them, right? Then which means what? You have to continuously grow at a faster rate than Kalyan. So that is the only thing over here. But overall, great. Their expansion plan is great. Numbers are great. Everything on track. In fact, they've told ki, only for the first 2 years, until FY26, that is there, they are going to try and target to be in Maharashtra itself, because see, that is where they have a lot of hold. They have a very, very strong hold in this geography. In fact, over here in Maharashtra, they're the second biggest player, and they're planning and they're targeting to be the first number one player in the entire Maharashtra in terms of store count, in terms of revenues and all the other metrics that are there. Okay, so that is one of the thing. And after this 2 years that they have, FY25 and FY26, then they are planning to go to the other neighboring states such as UP, Bihar, Jharkhand, that belt. That is what they're targeting. In fact, they keep telling, we will be following the Peshwa route, so hopefully, yeah, so it's not that यहाँ पे भी geographical concentration रहेगा and they're not targeting a pan India presence. Just now, for the next 2 years, they want to continue to strengthen the hold over here, because again, see, whenever you're talking about gold and all, it's a high ticket item. You have to trust somebody. In fact, think about this. I think you will also see among yourself, you might have a personal experience over here. I can tell, my mom always shops from Joss and Joyalukas. So whenever you think about gold, I always go to Joss and Joyalukas, right? So that, whenever you talk about gold, it's a high ticket item. You need a trust, right? So over here, when you have a very good, foothold in Maharashtra, and you know that there is much more opportunities over here, it only makes sense to expand over there. Because agar aap newer geography mein jaoge, first of all, you have to spend a lot on marketing, because nobody knows you over there, right? And after that, you have to get people accustomed to your brand and everything. It is much more difficult for you to expand in a newer geography than in your own geography. And as long as there is opportunity over here, why not? Because if you look at the entire west side of India, Maharashtra accounts for, I think, 60% of the gold in the western part of India. So overall, that is why them growing in Maharashtra is not really that big of a deal. It is, as long as people consider it to be a negative, it is not. Because when you look at their business model, you see that they've always been that kind where they're a Maharashtra grown brand. Okay, so that's that about PN Gadgil Jewellers. Great set of numbers, everything is great. Hopefully they continue to deliver, and hopefully this pace of growth that we're seeing, 40% kind of pace of growth, due to which they're able to beat Kalyan, continues to sustain, right? That's the only hope for them. Anyways, that's that for PN Gadgil Jewellers. I'll see you again in another video. Bye.